All right, guys. Hey, this is another episode of the Recruiting Board podcast. I'm here with Floyd Guidry. He's a defensive lineman from Spring High School, right outside the Houston area. Floyd, welcome aboard, man.
Oh yeah, it's real great to be on here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Floyd, you're a three-star prospect out of Texas, and that's even though you may be on the smaller spectrum of Texas, there's a lot of people out there in Texas because Texas really just is a whole nother part of the. I mean, it's really just its own country because there's like what 10 million people that live in the state of Texas. I don't even know how many people live in the state of Texas. There's a lot of prospects you got to cover, and so you just happen to be a little on the lower end. But that's not saying much because you're getting offers from a lot of different people, including Texas A&M, LSU, you name it. So, what has about your offseason been like? Because it just seems like the last few weeks it's just one offer after another and another. Man, like that seems pretty. That's a pretty crazy offseason.
Yes, sir. What's called it? So I just all these offers coming in. So I'm just trying to keep my head clear. Usually I do that by working out with a few of my teammates. We go to the field, work out. But it's like just been straight business since I've been getting blown up. One off after another. I was like, okay, I gotta lock in. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. So yeah.
Yeah, man. And I want to ask you, I know you're from Texas. Obviously, I just mentioned that you're from right outside the Houston area, and one of the biggest names your whole recruitment has been Texas. Texas obviously had a huge year last year, going to the college football playoff. Um, but obviously, besides it being the flagship university of the state of Texas, and of course, it's probably what a lot a lot of kids your age in Texas dream to play for the Longhorns. What else have you liked about Texas so far?
Definitely the coaching staff. Like I go there and like they keep it real. What's called it? They explain to me the program. They teach me like we still in the they still teach me to this day. I text them about if I want to work on something, they'll text me back. They just been awesome people, just keeping me coached up, and I'm always here to learn.
Hmm. And no, I know that what have you visited Texas so far? Because I know they were kind of early in your recruitment.
Yes, sir. I went to their junior day. I forgot when that was, but I went to their junior day. I think January 3rd, January 2nd, one of those days. I went to their junior day. They showed me around, got to meet more of the coaching staff, and we were just able to talk about the program, talk about my recruitment, and hopefully commit.
Yeah, man. What was that visit like? Because I know Texas has some really really nice facilities, and they've really upgraded in the last few years.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. Like everything was like just so big. Like I've never been like in a situation like that before. So like everything I was just like taking. I'm like, God dang, I never knew a room this big could just be for recovery or things like that. So I was like, just all taking it in, just taking it slowly. I was like, man, like when you look around, you be like, yeah, I made it. Like this is it.
Yeah, man. And um, speaking of Texas, I know that Bo Davis was your primary recruiter at Texas, and now he has joined the staff over at LSU. They just rehauled their whole entire staff, and they made sure that Bo Davis was a priority in the whole in a lot in their hires because he's went to LSU. Well, he played at LSU. He goes to LSU, and they won. And he's also a great recruiter, which is why they brought him back. But what has your relationship been like with Coach Davis?
Student teacher. Like I text him, what's called it. He the one that gave me the recruitment for Texas, and so when he moved to Louisiana, he was the one. He came, excuse me, he came down to my school, was able to talk to me, see me work out, see me compete, and like just that. And he was like, I yeah, I didn't make a mistake. So he gave me the offer for LSU, and I was just like, it's just a wonderful relationship between me and him.
Yeah, and has LSU kind of moved up your list for potential colleges you want to play for?
Um, yes, sir. Definitely. Being that like he's like one of the coaches there, and I got like that relationship is definitely one of the top ones so far in the commitment.
And I know that people, there's a lot of people from Louisiana that actually watch my show because I actually live in Louisiana. But I
Hmm.
also cover, there's a lot of guys I actually know out in Texas because they've been following me on Twitter and everything like that. But
Hmm.
your last, people are gonna look at your last name, Guidry. So can you explain to everybody watching the podcast, who may be listening or watching the podcast, who may be from Louisiana? Can you kind of explain the relationship between your family in Louisiana?
My grandparents and my mother, they're originally from Louisiana, moved out here to Houston. Let's call my dad was raised in Beaumont, and so like I got my name from my dad because like he was in Beaumont, so he had the Guidry name, and my mother had the Guillory, which is also a famous
Mhm.
name in Louisiana. So like it was either one, but it's like it's good Louisiana origin. I got my grandparents down there. Let's call it. They live on the countryside of Louisiana, and so that's where I just get my last name from. I'm glad
Yeah,
I'm carrying it though.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is that does your family being from Louisiana kind of also bolster your recruitment with LSU?
Oh yes, sir. Cause it's like it's like you're comfortable with the setting. You be like, okay, this is from Louisiana, so I got some people out there. I know how it works. I know how they compete over there, and it's just be like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with being over there, and that definitely like boosted it up in the recruitment.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Can I ask where your family is originally from, Louisiana?
Me myself, I do not know. They tell me all the time. They be like, this. I be like, uh huh. Well, I'm from Houston, so I
Yeah,
already
yeah,
know.
I feel that. I feel that,
So I was
man.
like, yeah. So it's like a little joke. I'd be like, you from Louisiana, you don't know nothing about no Houston. Like it's just be like a run it joke. Hmm.
I mean, to honest, you do sound like you could be from Louisiana. If you told me, hey, I'm from Lafayette, I would 100% believe you because that's how a lot of people are, especially in Southern Louisiana. They're just kind of like they're full of energy because they're kind of like you, man. Like, so I
Yes,
kind of
sir.
see where you get that Louisiana stuff from, man.
Yes, sir.
I also want to ask you because you're from Houston, obviously. I know that Houston recently they moved up to the Big 12. They just
Hmm.
brought in a new coach, Willie Fritz, just had a lot of success. Not only just a Tulane where he won a Cotton Bowl and they upset USC, but he's also familiar with Southeastern Texas as he used to be the head coach of Sam Houston State. So, what has been your relationship like with Houston so far as of late?
Um, I I went to their junior day today. It was an incredible, phenomenal experience. What's called Coach Fritz. He came down there personally. About 2 weeks ago, came down, was able to talk to me personally, get like a one-on-one, and so like just showing that like he was able to come down one-on-one with me. He didn't see no other coach. He came to me as a head coach and was like, "Yeah, we want you. What's it called? We believe in your potential. I want you to come down." I was like, "Okay." I gotta go down to junior day. Was able to talk to a few more coaches, and he incredible coach, incredible coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, did you happen to meet anybody? Did you happen to meet anybody over there in the Houston Junior Day that
Oh
you were
yes,
surprised?
sir.
Oh wow, I can't believe he's here.
No. Oh, what's it called? So I'm from originally from Spring, and we compete with these kids from Aldine, and so there's a few kids from Nimitz that I was able to meet up with, and then they recognized me. They was like, "Oh, you number 99." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay." I'm comfortable because everybody from like Georgia, things like that. So you figure out you find somebody like right down the street. It was it was comfortable. I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." We was just able to meet them. We was talking about because we're going against each other this season. I was like, "Okay, let the best man win, and we're gonna get this show on the road."
Yeah, and have you got the chance to visit some other colleges? I know you've visited used to know you visited Texas so far, but have you gotten a chance to visit some others?
Oh no, sir. What's it called? I just started this. What's it called it? I went to UT and the U of H, of course, and I plan on going to a few more soon. What's it called it? Mainly TCU and Pitt. Those are the ones I'm planning on going to take my visit down to and just learn more about the program.
Hmm. And I know TCU actually went to come visit you. I believe was it at school? Because I know I saw on your Twitter. How was that?
Yes,
How was that? How was that? How did you feel about the visit that you got from the TCU coaches? Because that's a pretty big deal when you have a good bit of the coaching staff come down and come see you.
it was incredible. Like I remember they called. I remember my dad the night before. My dad was like, "Yeah, the TCU coaches." I said coaches. He's like yeah. He's like half the staff gonna come down to see you at your school tomorrow. I was like, dang, like for me. And so it's just like just knowing that I was like TCU is a good school. So I'm like, man, I gotta stay humble, keep at it, because it's like you got these phenomenal players, these phenomenal coaches coming down, talking to me, seeing me, and I was like, man, I was just taking it all in. I have a good relationship with the TCU coaches, especially Coach McFarland.
Hmm.
That's my guy right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what's called
yeah,
it's a wonderful relationship. He came down. That was his second time coming down. We keep constant contact, so it was just incredible just hearing down from him.
yeah, man. And I know that Coach Dykes, the head coach over there at TCU, he came down to visit you too. I mean that. Do you think that also made it a lot more impactful that the head coach of TCU, was able to
Mhm.
come down there as well?
Yes, sir. So like just knowing, like I already said, like the coaching staff came down there, but the head coach himself came down, and like we expressed some words. We had the heart to heart, and like he was just like, "You're a phenomenal player, and I want to see what you do." And he did it, and it's funny, he didn't even talk about football much. He was just talking about like developing me as a man. What's it called? Make sure I succeed in not only football but my career, and like me myself, I really appreciate that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. He's just kind of remind you guys. He's gotten offers from Baylor, Cal, Duke, Houston, Kansas, LSU, Pitt, TCU, Texas, Texas A&M, Texas State, Texas Tech, and then I know recently you just got an offer from Oregon State too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what? How I know that it's been pretty busy. I know that when I actually called you, you thought I was a coach. So how that's how much your phone's been blowing up. But how you been dealing with all this, man? Like just in terms of because I know that right now you do have a 4.1 GPA. Congratulations. That's a pretty big accomplishment in your academic career. But how do you handle all the stuff that's going on around you, whether it's football, academics, and then now you have this blitz of offers getting mailed to you in your mailbox?
What's called just family and friends, like people I know. What's called keeping my head like keep me on track. What's called it make sure I'm balanced. I like to think so. What's called it just having them help me, having me like balance my life. Be like, okay, you should probably take a break once a day, but schedule something for tomorrow. Like it's like just little things like that. I just have to thank my family and friends and God. My Lord and Savior. He helped me a lot, and so that's just what helps me to get through all this and constantly praying. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so I'm gonna ask you some more like I'm gonna ask you this too because obviously you play high school football in Texas, and I know there's been a lot of stuff going about Texas high school football and how crazy it is. I think a lot of people look at Friday Night Lights like, oh wow, what's going on over there? Is it really that serious? And I've actually asked some people who either played high school football in the state of Texas or what or who played or is currently playing or something up, and they all told me the same thing. I asked them about, hey, is Friday Night Lights in like an over dramatization of no, over? Is it really like that, like the show? And they all said no, it's even worse than the show. So, what's it like playing high school football in the state of Texas?
Yeah, it's way worse. What's it called it? We're very competitive. We're very competitive out there. It's like we always say down here. There's only two things that's important in Texas: God and football. You got those two things. Yeah, so we take those two things very seriously. Like football is like a big part of everybody's life. You be arguing with family members, friends, and during the football, what's it called? You get to compete. You don't compete like everybody else. You're like, okay, this is my job. You ain't gonna take my job from me. And like Texas is a big like a big factor in football. There's nothing like football in the South. That's my opinion. Football in the South is one of the best things ever.
Mhm.
So, mhm.
Yeah, and speaking of the South, Texas is joining the SEC next year. How do you like that move going to the SEC? I mean, I know you're, right now. I think Texas probably is in the lead for you in terms of recruiting, but how big of it is that you have Texas joining the SEC, joining the likes of Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia. I mean, teams like that. I mean, that's got to be a adrenaline rush for you, especially as a guy who's getting recruited heavily by the Longhorns.
Yeah, of course, because I like to compete. So bring down the best. Like we what's called it? Like I just like to prove myself. So just knowing that if I do go there, potentially go there, what's called I'm gonna be able to compete with some of the best schools. And that's just amazing for me because I'm a competitor. So like I want to go against the best. And if I want to go against the best, I'll be part of the best.
Yeah, man. And just going on some football stuff. What because you played on the defensive line. You're one of the more highly touted defensive linemen, not only in the state of Texas, but around the country. So what separates you? What do you think separates you from the rest of the pack? Like, what makes you unique compared to everybody else?
I say it's not no physical, no speed, no nothing. I say it's my mentality and my obsession with the game. Like you can play football good, you can be real talented, but if you're not obsessed with the game, then it's just not really gonna work out. What's called I think about football every day. I look at football every day, and I just be like yeah, this is my drive. This is what I want to do. What's called it? When I go on the field, I feel like yeah, I want to be better than the person in front of me. I'm very competitive, like I said, and my mentality is I'm gonna be the best in anything I do.
Hmm.
So, and nobody gonna stop that train but me. So that's just how I feel about it. That's how what makes me better than anybody else. I ain't no quitter, no nothing. And my mentality is gonna carry me far, and my hard work will show. Yes, sir.
Hmm. And may I ask a question? Are you? I know it says on your Twitter 6290. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you move well for a guy 6'2", 290, and if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can kind of tell like, oh wow, this guy can move. He's strong. He's quick. He's physical. So moving on to that question, what do you think are some of your best attributes as a defensive lineman?
My ball get off. Like I'm always the first person off the ball. The offense lineman slow. So as a D lineman, I have to always be quicker than they is on my strength. I always keep up with my strength. I plan on being like one of the strongest. What's it called it? Get that weightlifting in and my speed. I feel like my speed matching with my explosiveness. What's it called it? I disturb the whole play as you can see in the
Mhm.
highlights right there.
Yeah, man. And what are some players that you like to model your game after?
Some players I like to base my game off of is Aaron Donald, of course, Reggie White. Reggie White is a big one for me. Watch his highlights every day before the game. What's it
Okay.
called? Quentin Williams. I see his game. I see his game, and especially in college, I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna copy him, but I'm gonna use his stuff as inspiration, and just mainly guys my size. I'd be like, okay, let me base my game off this, but also add my little own touch to it.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting that's a pretty interesting answer because he played a very long time ago, even before I was born. So it's actually pretty interesting that you like to model your game after arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, defensive lineman to ever play the game. I mean, and that's a great person to watch to model your game after because he was one of the best technical defensive linemen of all time as well. Um, but what who or what is your biggest motivator? Not only just on the field, but also off the field.
My family. My family, my biggest motivator. Like every day, I work either on or off the field. I'd be like, okay, I'm doing this for my family. We ain't grow up the best. We ain't grow up like everybody else. We have to fight for what we got, and what's called it, just being able to like represent, have them succeed, have my mom and my father not working no more, have my siblings taken care of. That's a big part of me. So every day I go in the field or do something, I have a chip on my shoulder. I'd be like, okay, remember, you gotta do this for you and something even bigger than you, your family. So that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah. And what area, I know that you've kind of risen up and on everybody's recruiting boards, but how do you deal with all the distract? Oh no, the next question. I already asked you that early, but what areas have you improved on, and what areas do you still need to work on?
I improved my technique on for sure. Like I already had the strength, I already had the speed, and I just added the technique, so it boosts my game incredibly. And what I feel like I need to work on is, man, I'm not trying to sound like a narcissist, but I feel like I just need to work on what's it called it, being like being able to like grab like technique wise, add a few more to my arsenal because you can never stop learning. I'm always a
Right.
student of the game, so I want to stay learning, stay hungry, and that's just like the main things I feel like I want to work on. And I feel like that if I get those down, I'll be one of the best.
Hmm. Right. Exactly. And I know you're going to your senior year. Obviously, this is a big year for you. Obviously, you want to keep improving your game and trying to get a few more offers to come your way. Because I mean, it seems like it's probably because right now everyone's going through it. I think it's a quiet period right now, so I don't think many people are trying to offer as many kids because it's kind of limited to how much you can contact somebody. But
Mhm.
that's going to start picking up as the summer goes on. So, uh, but then you deal with all that stuff, but then also it's a senior year. You honestly want to obviously want to finish off with a bang. But
Mhm.
what uh what adjustments have you made as a leader? Because everyone looks up to the seniors as leaders for mentorship, for knowledge and stuff like that. So how have you kind of what have you already started to do to handle that type of a role on your team?
What's called it? I just talk to my players. I let them know, especially my young ones. What's called it? I got a little D lineman under me. This little he turned to a junior. What's called it? Jonah Espinoza. What's called it? Just like him, for example. I take him out. I'll be like, yeah, I did this, so you can follow my footsteps. Like I believe that you can do it. What's it called? Is just have them learn from my experience, learn what you can and what you can't do. So it's like also being like a leader, but also being like a big brother at the same time. Cause like I like to take care of them. I'm big on being the team captain and leader. I want to push my team to be the best. And like if they it's like a vice versa thing. They push me to be the best, I push them to be the best, and so we all just do greatly on the field.
Yeah, man. And I also want to ask you about, because I know you're from Houston. Are you a Texans fan by chance? Or,
Oh yes, sir.
how,
even
yeah, I
when
could
they
ask, I should
even
ask
when they
you earlier. But how do you feel about the season they had so far with CJ Stroud throwing the ball all across the field? They had a great year and really overachieved. So, how do you feel about the whole season?
Oh yeah, it was incredible. Like just seeing like, okay, we was in like a little drought, we wasn't winning nothing. So it was hard. It was hard being defending. Oh yeah, Texas gonna get there one day. And CJ Stroud and the new head coach came in and they changed the program. So like put Texas on the map. Now people recognizing like, yeah, we can be contenders down here. And it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, you guys obviously had a the Cowboys, man, they haven't won. When's the last time they won a playoff game? Like 2 years. I mean, the Texans. I mean, honestly, I think the Texans have had more success than the Cowboys have in the playoffs, which is
Sure.
pretty incredible. Just with the history with the Cowboys. But I also want to ask you about your academics. I mentioned earlier that you had a 4.1 GPA. Is there a particular area? Is there a particular area you want to go into after you leave college, or like what do you want to let me ask this: what do you want to major in when you get to college?
I want to major in marketing and business. I feel like just me being like outspoken, being able to talk, being able to speak, I feel like that'd be like a great thing for me. And and money's a good thing. So
Yeah.
that's two pros, and yeah, I'm going for it.
Yeah, and I think that I think the Texas coaches love to hear that because I know they over there at UT Austin they have a fantastic business program over there. Um, but yeah, but I also want to ask you like this is the last question before we end the show. But
Mhm.
is there any hobbies you like to do outside of football that helps you kind of like just relax and everything? Because I know it's with football and all the stuff that's going on with the colleges contact you every now and then, school and everything. There's just something that you just like to do just to just relax and have fun.
Mainly it's two things: play video games with my boys, and what's it called, play basketball. You go outside, you be like, okay, pull up to this court. Okay, pull up to this court, and we all just beat up, do a little big old pickup basketball game, and give them buckets because I be hooping on them.
Yeah,
They So that's like I like playing basketball. It's like it takes my mind off things. I don't have to really worry about video games. Also, like playing Call of Duty, Madden. What's called
yeah,
those things take my mind off things and just keep me relaxed, just keep me focused and things like that.
yeah, man. Yeah, it's awesome to hear. Thanks, Floyd, for joining the recruiting the recruiting board podcast.
Yes,
I'm your
sir.
host, Grant
Thank
Sasher.
you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm your host, Grant Sasher. You can follow me on Twitter at Sasher Grant. And then Floyd, you can find him on Twitter. He's pretty active on Twitter with all of his offers and all of his coaches hitting them up and stuff like that. But he's also going to be the next big thing out of the state of Texas. And then also make sure to follow 45/7 Productions social media, Twitter and Instagram. Also make sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then the show will also be on audio format on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So thanks, Floyd. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys
Sir.
next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.